Glorious Revolution: How a Baby, a Fleet, and a Bill of Rights Rewrote British History. What do you get when a Catholic king has a surprise baby? A Dutch prince shows up with 15,000 troops and a fleet bigger than the Spanish Armada, and Parliament decides to rewrite the monarchy's rulebook. How did England go from absolute monarchy to constitutional rule without a single beheading? So grab your powdered wig, sharpen your quill, and prepare for a tale of betrayal, ambition, and one very awkward family reunion that changed the course of history. Let's dive in. Once upon a time in the year 1660, England, Scotland, and Ireland were recovering from a rather awkward phase, namely, the whole let's try republicanism experiment under Oliver Cromwell. Spoiler, it didn't go well. Cromwell ruled like a Puritan Terminator, banned Christmas, and made everyone wear black and behave. When he died, the country collectively sighed, dusted off the crown, and called back Charles II, son of the beheaded Charles I, to restore the monarchy. Charles II was charming, witty, and had more mistresses than ministers. But he also had a problem: no legitimate children. He did have plenty of illegitimate ones, but apparently you can't just crown your favorite party guest. Worse still, on his deathbed in 1685, Charles pulled a plot twist worthy of a soap opera. He converted to Catholicism. Cue dramatic music. With Charles gone, the crown passed to his brother James II, who was already Catholic. Now, Protestant England wasn't thrilled about this. They liked their monarchs Protestant, preferably with a mild disdain for Rome. But James promised to respect England's religious institutions. "Scout's honor," he said. The nobility raised an eyebrow but didn't panic yet. Why? Because James had no male heir. Everyone figured they could just wait him out. He'd reign, he'd die, and his Protestant daughter Mary, married to the very Protestant William of Orange, would take over. Easy peasy. Until 1688. In 1688, James had a son, a Catholic son. Suddenly, the line of succession looked like a Vatican-sponsored dynasty. The English nobility collectively spat out their tea. A Catholic heir meant a Catholic future, and that was simply not on the menu. So what did they do? They sent a very polite, very treasonous invitation to William of Orange, Mary's husband, and the Protestant stadtholder of the Dutch Republic. "Dear William," they wrote, "fancy popping over with a few thousand troops and saving our Protestant bacon?" William was no fool. He knew England was ripe for a regime change and that James was about as popular as a tax audit. Plus, he had a claim to the throne through Mary. So he said yes, but only if the nobles backed him. And back him they did. In November 1688, William sailed across the Channel with 15,000 troops and a fleet larger than the Spanish Armada. It was like showing up to a bar fight with a battleship. James, meanwhile, tried to rally his forces, but his army began deserting faster than rats on a sinking ship. His support evaporated, his will crumbled, and in a move that historians still debate, he ran away to France. No dramatic last stand, no epic duel. Just a royal ghosting. With James gone, Parliament declared that his flight was tantamount to abdication. William and Mary were crowned joint monarchs in 1689, but with a catch. William had to accept that his power was limited. Parliament would now call the shots. Thus, the constitutional monarchy was born. No more divine right, no more royal absolutism, just a monarch who reigned but didn't rule. England had reinvented its monarchy with a dash of Dutch pragmatism and a whole lot of paperwork. Now here's where the story splits like a bad breakup. The English version: we invited William. It was a peaceful transition, a Dutch-backed English coup, not an invasion. We're still in charge, thank you very much. The Dutch version: we sailed in with a fleet bigger than the Spanish Armada, landed 15,000 troops, and took over 3 kingdoms. We conquered Britain and Ireland. You're welcome. Both sides have a point. William didn't seize power by force. He was invited. But he did arrive with enough firepower to flatten half of Europe. And while he wasn't crowned king in his own right, he was given equal authority with Mary, which was unprecedented. So who's right? Honestly, it depends on whether you're sipping tea in London or stroopwafels in Amsterdam. Now pause for a sec. Join the front lines of history and power. Welcome to European battle, where epic clashes, legendary warriors, and untold stories come alive. By subscribing and turning on notifications, you're not just joining a channel. We are a community. Go to the comment section, drop a comment on your favorite scene of this story also. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to never miss a moment of the action. European battle, where legends clash. Let's start with the 1689 Bill of Rights, a document so spicy it made absolutism break out in hives. When William and Mary were crowned, Parliament handed them this parchment and said, "Congrats. Now sign here, here, and here. Oh, and you're not allowed to do anything fun without our permission." This bill limited royal power, banned Catholics from the throne, and gave Parliament the final say on taxes, laws, and who gets to wear the crown. Not exactly the kind of deal a conqueror accepts, right? Imagine Napoleon being told, "You can rule France, but only if you promise not to raise taxes or start wars without asking first." He'd eat the contract and invade the printer. But William did accept it. Why? Because he wasn't just playing king, he was playing chess, and the Protestant world was his board. Now let's hop across the channel to the Netherlands, where the story sounds a bit different. There, William isn't seen as a polite guest. He's the guy who showed up with an armada larger than the Spanish Armada, 15,000 Dutch troops, and a plan so bold it made tulips wilt. From the Dutch perspective, this wasn't a rescue, it was a strategic conquest. William didn't land to cheers and confetti from English lords. He landed with boots, cannons, and a fleet that could double as a floating city. The English nobles' support? A formality. A cherry on top of a very Dutch sundae. Why did William do it? Because the Netherlands was surrounded by Catholic enemies, France, Spain, and every monarch who thought Protestantism was a phase. England, with its money, navy, and global reach, was the perfect ally. So William saw England's chaos and thought, "Ah, yes, opportunity knocks, and I brought a battering ram." William wasn't after the crown for the crown's sake. He wanted the resources, the combined wealth of England, Scotland, and Ireland to fund his wars against Catholic rivals. The throne was a bonus. The real prize was Protestant unity and a war chest big enough to make Louis XIV sweat. He appealed to disaffected English lords, not because he needed their help, but because it made the invasion look like a family reunion instead of a hostile takeover. Clever, right? And while England rolled over with barely a whimper, Scotland and Ireland were a different story. There, William did have to fight, hard. Which brings us to, so did the Dutch conquer England? Well, England says, "We invited William, it was a Protestant partnership, totally chill." The Netherlands says, "We invaded, took over, and saved your monarchy, you're welcome." The truth? Somewhere in between. William got what he wanted, money, power, Protestant allies. England got what it wanted, a Protestant monarch who didn't act like a dictator. And history got one of the most fascinating regime changes ever staged with minimal bloodshed and maximum intrigue. Next up, the Battle of the Boyne. Ah yes, the Battle of the Boyne, where William finally faced James II in a showdown that was less epic duel and more awkward family reunion with cannons. But we'll save that for the next episode. We are a community. Go to the comment section. Drop a comment on your favorite scene of this story. Also, don't forget to follow, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you never miss another thrilling tale from history's most dramatic playbook.